Hey there, welcome to Evolving with Ben, inspirations and motivations for everyday life. Are you ready for your next career transition, but you're avoiding the process because, let's face it, it's a long, daunting process? In this video, I want to share with you 4 different steps that have worked for me in the past. Searching for your next career move is almost like a part-time job. Let's face it, the days of walking into a place of business and asking the hiring manager for an application, filling it out on the spot and turning it in and then hoping to get an interview on the spot, those days are over. As I've mentioned, there are 4 different steps that I've taken in the past that have worked for me. The first step is actually applying for the position that you want to pursue next. The second step is preparing for the actual interview after you've been screened by the recruiter. The third step is the actual interview process. And the fourth step is, how do you stay inspired and engaged during the waiting period? I'm going to break down for you each of these 4 steps and share best practices that have worked for me in the past. Starting with step number 1, applying for the position that you want to pursue. As I mentioned earlier, the days of applying for a position and hoping to get a call back are over. There's a little bit of behind the scene work that you have to do in order for your application to get to the top of the list. Remember that when you apply for a position, there's probably 50 other candidates that have also applied for the same role. So what do? After you've submitted your application through the company's website, you want to leverage professional social media sites, such as LinkedIn. And what you want to do is you want to connect with the recruiting team from that company. Not only the recruiting team, but also do some extensive research and find who the hiring manager is for the position that you are pursuing. Now, if you want to take this an extra step further, you can also connect with the senior leadership team of the organization. It doesn't stop there. Once you've connected with these folks from the company that you're pursuing, it's okay for you to reach out to them directly. Start networking. You want to send them a message directly through their inboxes and say, for example, Mr. or Mrs. Recruiting Person, I am interested in applying for this position, and here is why. And in your message, you want to list some of your key skills and experience, and you also want to tell them, why are you interested in this position? What does that do? That shows your true interest, genuine interest to this position and to the organization. Don't get discouraged if you don't hear back from the recruiter or the hiring manager. Chances are that they did see your message, but the important thing is that you made that initial connection and showed your genuine interest. Now, let me talk to you about step number 2, which is actually preparing for the interview. At this point, you've probably already gotten a call from the recruiter and had a 30 to 45 minute pre-screen phone call with the recruiter, and now they've scheduled you for a face-to-face interview with the hiring manager. You want to prepare for that interview. Here's what I've done in the past. You want to research the company a little bit more. Try to get an idea of the company's culture. Research the company's mission, their vision, and also their core values. Because by doing this, it gives you a little bit of insight on how this organization operates. Now, you've already made a connection with the recruiters, with the hiring manager through those social media platforms. Research them a little bit deeper. Find out what is the manager's leadership style? What is their working style? How do they collaborate with their teams? You can do this by continuing to network via these social media platforms. It's okay to reach out to people, and it's okay to ask questions as you are preparing for the interview. As you're doing your research, jot it down on your notepad. Take some notes, because these notes are going to come in handy when you go and actually present yourself for the face-to-face interview with the hiring manager. Part of your research should be the company's history. Look up their major milestones. Also, look up what's been their financials for the last maybe 2 quarters or even the last year. Believe me, this will all come in handy when you're interviewing face-to-face with the hiring manager. Now, let's move on to step number 3. Step number 3 is the actual interview with the hiring manager. You are now in front of them. When you come to the interview, of course, you want to come prepared with your most recent resume. Although they already have a copy of your resume because of the application you've submitted, you want to come prepared with extra copies just in case someone decides to join the interview at the last minute. That shows that you pay attention to detail and that you are also organized. Also, come prepared with the notes that you took during your research process. It is also okay for you to tell the hiring manager that you've done a little bit of research, that you have some notes, and that you also have some questions that you want to ask them after the interview. What does that tell them? It tells them that you are prepared, it tells them that you're genuinely interested in the organization, and it also tells them that you pay attention to detail. Now, the actual interview process. Leverage the research that you have done. As the hiring manager is asking you interview questions, you want to interweave some of your research into those responses. So for example, they may ask you a question like, why do you want to work for this company? That's always a great question, but a daunting question for many people. Since you've done research and you've gotten some insight into the company's culture, their vision, their mission, and possibly their core values, let them know that their values interested you, their mission interested you, and how is it that you are going to fit into the company's culture, and what is it that you will bring to the table. Now, I also mentioned that you might want to research the leader that you're going to be interviewing with and their style. You can leverage that to your advantage. You can tell them that, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Leader, I admire the fact that you've been recognized as an effective leader amongst your peers. I saw this in your professional profile. That's impressive. That also tells a hiring manager, again, that you pay attention to detail and that you have a genuine interest to work for them and work for this organization. After your interview has concluded, now comes the waiting process. During this step, many people find it to be overwhelming because of the feeling of the unknown. It's important for you to keep in mind to only focus on the things that you can control. For example, you can control staying connected to the organization and to the hiring manager or managers. One of the things that you should do is send them a thank you card. Yes, you can send a thank you email, but a handwritten thank you card goes a long way. So send everyone that was involved in your interview process, including the recruiter that screened you over the phone, a simple thank you for taking your time to meet with me, and mail it out. What does that show? It shows your true genuine interest in the organization even after the interview process, and it also shows that you pay attention to detail. Here's something else that you can do during the waiting period. Ask for feedback. Go and talk to your mentor or someone that you trust and tell them about your interview experience. Share with them what are some of the things that you talked about during your interview, what were some of your responses like, and ask for feedback. Feedback is such a powerful thing. It can help you prepare for a follow-up interview or maybe even a future potential interview with a different organization. What else you can do is remind yourself of all of your key talents and skills and everything that you've accomplished throughout your career. Self-reassurance is key, and its power to keep you inspired and motivated during the interview process. I hope that you found these best practices helpful and beneficial. Remember that career transitioning is kind of considered a part-time job in today's workforce market. You can't just apply for a position and hope to get a call back. You have to show your genuine interest and you have to put in the work so that you can stand out amongst the other 50 or 100 applicants that have applied for the same position. Thank you for tuning in today. I invite you to share with me what are some of the steps that you have taken in the past to help you during your career transitioning. Also, leave your comments down below on this video. You can also reach me via social media at Instagram at evolvingwithben or Snapchat at evolving_Ben. You can also reach me on my email at evolvingwithben@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and let's continue to evolve together.